The tragedy of the high seas, as we have seen it referred to in our chosen article from National Geographic, Overfishing Remains Biggest Threat to Mediterranean, Study Confirms, written by David Brown on April 19, 2014. To start things off, addressing what a common access resource is might be a good idea. A common access resource is considered to be gifts of nature over which there is no private ownership. Therefore, no effective means of regulating the use of the resource. It is also a good that is rivalrous but non-excludable and provides consumers with a tangible benefit. The high seas is classified as a common access resource because the high seas are the part of the ocean that lie beyond coastal states that are privatized by certain nations, meaning there are potential regulations for that given area of water. Since the ocean is considered to be international waters, no nation can regulate it because that defeats the purpose of internationality. It becomes a rivalrous resource because the amount of fish available is limited, and since it is not regulated, the current overfishing depletes the supply faster than the supply is replenished.
A current problem, and one that will continue to exist if nothing is done, is the rate and amount at which fishing is occurring. As mentioned in the introduction, the current rate of fishing is greater than that of the reproduction of fish. This then leads to a depletion of the resource, as with most markets present, there is always a legal and illegal market. In this case, it refers to the catching of fish in areas that are not publicly open. This illegal fishing reduces the amount of fish in the oceans, eventually completely depleting fish in that given area, leaving the oceans to become a mixture of microbes and jellyfish. A future challenge that we will face if overfishing continues to stay such a large problem. We will also face a decrease in the biodiversity seen in the oceans.
This diagram shows the negative externality of production created due to overfishing. The supply curve moves to the left of the marginal private cost, creating a deadweight loss. Not only is a deadweight loss created, but this demonstrates how there is an underallocation of the resource. Fishing is open to all, and countries have declared minerals on the seabed, the common heritage of mankind.
Solution number 1. The first solution we came up with to try and prevent the overconsumption of fish was to create global regulations for fishermen. The regulation that we thought would be the most effective for this scenario was to create a permit or a license for fishing vessels. With such a regulation, we would not only notice less of an overfishing problem, but it would also lead to a decrease in illegal fishing. A disadvantage to introducing this type of regulation would be that in the short run, there would be a decrease in the amount of fresh fish fisheries because of the extra costs of getting a permit or a license for fishing. In the long run, however, more fishermen would have the permit or license that allows them to fish, which would cater for the larger companies that supply the consumers with fresh fish, and the smaller companies would no longer be fishing at such large quantities. So, overall, this would lead to a decrease in the quantity of fish being caught. In this diagram, the blue supply curve represents how the deadweight loss will decrease with the implemented regulation. The marginal social cost is also moved closer to the marginal private cost.
The second solution we thought could be effective to deal with this market failure would be to create more marine sanctuaries. By creating marine sanctuaries, we would be able to prevent the depletion of fish because within these sanctuaries, fish would be able to replenish without the need to fear being caught. An advantage to allowing fish the space and time to replenish themselves in the marine sanctuaries. An increase in supply would be shown, moving the supply curve closer to the marginal production cost. In the short run, this won't prove to have instantaneous results. However, in the long run, when the fish have repopulated, then we will notice an increase in the supply. If this is in effect, then overfishing will be a diminishing problem that we face. Something that could prove to be a slight challenge would be making fishermen aware of where certain sanctuaries were located. In the diagram, we can see that with the creation of marine sanctuaries, the deadweight loss decreases and the supply curve moves closer to the socially optimal level. Given the time, fish will be able to replenish themselves and allow for a more sustainable rate of fishing. A third possible solution to internalize the externalities would be to create a tax that fishermen will have to pay in order to legally catch the fish that they do. This would lead to an increase in the price of fish on the market, but would also move the supply curve closer to the marginal private cost, creating a more efficient market. An advantage to this potential solution is that because of the increased price, demand would decrease. A disadvantage to this, however, would be that it is difficult to regulate every fishing vessel in existence, along with agreeing on a global tax rate, seeing as currencies have different
sustainable level. The diagram shows that with an imposed taxation, the deadweight loss will decrease, causing the supply curve to shift closer to the equilibrium price and quantity. With the tax, the price of fish increases, and because of this, demand decreases. This solution proves to be more effective than what is currently being done concerning the issue of overfishing.
Our final solution is the most irrational one and probably the least effective when it comes to overfishing. Banning fishing altogether, protected areas that allow some types of fishing are not effective at saving marine life. By banning fishing altogether, there will be no need to worry about a problem arising from overfishing. An advantage to placing a ban on overfishing would be that fish will be able to replenish themselves, causing overall supply to increase. A disadvantage to this is that it is difficult, practically impossible to prevent everyone from fishing. In the short run, there will be no fishing, and it will be respected more towards the beginning of the imposition. Nonetheless, in the long run, it won't be as effective because fishermen will begin fishing again off the radar, which could then lead to illegal black market for fish. There is no diagram for this solution because if a ban was implicated, then there would be no need to worry about the marginal private costs and the marginal social cost because this wouldn't be a legal state existing market.
The solution that has the highest possibility of being successful for this particular market failure would be the first solution offered. Regulating the fishing vessels would be the most effective method for dealing with the problems that arise with overfishing. This is because a quota of sorts could be set for the amount of fishing vessels that are licensed to fish in international waters, meaning an approximation of how many fish are being caught can be calculated. With this being done, it would also become easier to keep the rate of fishing at a more sustainable level due to stricter policies.
There is no way to place an exact value on the externalities created by overfishing. This is because, although there are many advancements being made in our knowledge with what marine life contributes to us, we cannot place a monetary value onto it. We are currently aware that with the overfishing, we will face a diminishing biodiversity. According to the Marine Conservation Institute, we need the oceans because they are essential to life on Earth. Also because the oceans are the largest ecosystems on Earth. They are the Earth's largest life support systems. Oceans generate half of the oxygen that we breathe. At any given moment, more than 97% of the world's water resides in the oceans. Oceans provide 1/6 of the animal protein that people consume. Living oceans also absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and reduce the impact of climate change. Putting a monetary cost on the externalities created by overfishing would be like putting a price on the human life.
To conclude this presentation, we would like to bring back the main market failure, which is the negative production of fish. Overfishing is a problem created by the high seas being a common access resource, meaning anyone has access to it. However, there is a finite amount of fish in the oceans. Although it may seem impossible for the time being, steps can be taken to reduce the amount that fishermen are catching and possibly allow certain species of fish to replenish themselves before they become extinct. If nations come together and take into action any of the possible solutions we have suggested, a change will be seen. Potentially not an immediate change, but definitely one in the long run.